Moll Anthony was a lady from Mullamast. She worked in the castle as a young girl. She became acquainted with herbs, and she was very much into nature and the context of mixing different herbs to get the result she endeavoured to get. Like in this bottle, there is 3 herbs, and this is known as the black bottle. Now, history has it that Biddy Early threw away the black bottle, but she didn't, because it was in Moll Anthony's possession, the first Moll Anthony. The second Moll Anthony is the allegation that Biddy Early, which is the 1800s, which is the allegation that she threw away the black bottle, but she did not. Moll Anthony the first was very highly intelligent, and it is said that in the castle that the British establishment had a party in the castle, and that there were more than 700 guests. Moll Anthony's job was to serve the food, and in her wisdom, whether it's right or whether it's wrong, it's not right, but anyway, she decided that she was going to kill the lot. So in the preparation of the food, she acquired green hedgerow field, you can't call them herbs, plants that were not unlike hogweed, as in the famous story from, I don't know who that was from now. It was one of the most famous written writers, and he wrote it some many years ago, where they drank from the cup and they were all dead. There was only one in his particular case, but there were 700 in the particular case of Moll Anthony. So she'd done them all in, barring ones that managed to scramble away. That was how she became interested, and that is how she arrived here. She arrived here for hiding, and she built a stone wall, a one-room stone wall, one window, one door, chimney at the end, house across the way there, small, just 25 yards away. This house is the house of the said Moll Anthony, but many years later. She died and is buried in Milltown. I don't know how that came about, because apparently the cemetery is younger. The second Moll Anthony is for sure buried in Milltown. And her headstone can be seen today or any day in the yard, churchyard, and in recent times, people, I'm talking over 100 years, because this has been with my family and bloodline for over 300 years. People have been going to that tombstone where Moll Anthony I is buried and where Moll Anthony II is buried, seeking cures in the dark of night with a light, a candle, flash lamp, whatever, and praying to the lady for a cure. I understand there has been serious cures. In this book, Haunting Echoes of Ireland's Past, there are other stories. It is written by Colm Donnelly. And Colm came here and took pictures of what for the book was most important. In his research, he uncovered a lot of lost material, historical stuff, including the original house of Moll Anthony. Moll Anthony's mother is also buried in Milltown. In the Speak, Moll Anthony, my title is Moll Anthony the Eighth. There have been 8 of us so far, and I have passed it on to Dolores Moll Anthony the Ninth. She presently studying to be a teacher. I help her out whenever I can, but I am now partly retired, and really retired if my brain would let me. Well, the cure is unbelievable. And for the first time, I'm going to release the name of the herb. The herb is known as Geranium Robert or Herb Robert, and can be found on the internet. The Americans having discovered it only about 60 or 70 years ago. And I was in California on a holiday to the famous college, and I went looking for it, and sure, it's all over the place. It's growing everywhere. They, with their technology and their wisdom, have put it into the internet, and as of yet I haven't got to the end of the pages. It seems to go on forever and ever. It it is said to cure over 2,000 different illnesses. One being, and I'll have a barrage of people calling here, which I don't want at the moment, because the doctors can give you a sedative, but it's mainly meant, its main effort was the suppression of the nervous system back to a normal. It also cured acne. It cured so many things, it is impossible for me in this interview to name out the amount of cures, because there are over 2,000. Sciatica, lumbago, arthritis, coronary thrombosis, get your blood pressure down, heal your stomach, on and on and on and on, 2,500 or thereabouts.
And is it a plant that would have been readily available in the Bog of Allen?
It wouldn't grow in the bog. It wouldn't like that type of
Soil.
chemistry in the earth. It would be of the chemistry of medium loam, soil as in soil clay, like California or Harvard. Around Harvard is the college where I was. Was over there to give a little talk, and it likes a dry spot. It likes a soil that you, in one of my other cures, I can use in the making of it, a spoonful of clay. But the clay has to be of a vintage, undisturbed for quite a while, and having the necessary nutrients in it to medium loam clay. And it's prolific in its growth if it gets the right soil. Well, the process has changed a little with technology, but it has not moved away from its original. There has been additions to it by way of, you can have it with a salad. If you had a salad, you can make up a sauce with black currants, mayonnaise, chives, and it's an easy way of getting it into the body as well, because it'll, in the long intestine, it will have to movement forward, back, up, down, sideways, and it will remain for a while. It's in a salad, it's good, but the ultimate of it all is this bottle. This is the original, and as we know, the originals in the chemist, which has been used for hundreds of years, are now being removed from the shelves. It's pathetic. Well, the simple story is, and it's not that simple either, because a lot of people wouldn't comprehend it. Herbs is the original of the Greek, Aristotle, and them all, to medicine. Science has come by methods of utilising some of these herbs, like guacam. Guacam is one item I also use. It's actually a cleanser and a painkiller. But again, it's gone off the market in Ireland. You'd have to go to California and get the guacam tree and peel it off and bring it home. It's so sad. And guacam being one of the important bark living creation from the forest, was used by the Red Indians as an antiseptic as well as a painkiller. And I mean, it's not dangerous. It's not dangerous at all. It's combined with sulphur. Even to go look for sulphur is difficult to get. It came naturally. Moll Anthony's instinct to herbs was natural, with curiosity. And when she got here, it is said, she looked at the hill of Grange and she put her hands up and she said, "Oh, the hue of blue and purple." All the herbs are either blue or purple. Yes, there were serious folklore, and this is Moll Anthony too now, who was a Kennedy. She would have been related to Sir John Kennedy, the man that founded the hunt in Naas. That's way back. That's to be found on the internet. She would have had many callers, including the Catholic Church, the priest from the parish of Allen, and she had a half door in the middle of this house, and he came with his horse and he tied it in the yard, and he came to the door and she came to the door, and he started scolding her on being a witch. Give up her old wicked ways. And she came out in the yard to him, and he continued to barrage her with insults, etc. So she went over to his horse, and she had the gift like more powerful than a horse whisperer. And his name is well documented. His name was Father Doyle. He came there after the college, the Roman Cuteria college that was at the parochial house out in the field at the time. It was there some years before this priest came along. But he came here to Moll Anthony and he started barraging her and putting her down, calling her a witch, give up her old ways. And she went out in the yard and he increased the vile language of insult. So she went over to his horse and she put her hands on the horse and she hypnotized the horse. She put the horse down, lying down, and when the priest was to go home, he couldn't get the horse up. The horse wouldn't get up. And she said, "You can walk home now and walk back tomorrow, and the horse will be ready for you." She gave him penance, the penance of not equating good over evil, for she only done good, and she was a Catholic. She died a Catholic and is buried in a Catholic graveyard in Milltown. The other parties were Protestants. The first Moll Anthony was a Protestant, and it continued on in the family up until Lisa. Now, she's not a Moll Anthony, she's a daughter of a Moll Anthony, changed to Catholic. As with myself, my ancestors were Protestant and Catholic. Yes,
Sure.
the locals treated her brilliantly because the second Moll Anthony, because she had a soup kitchen. She had a famous soup kitchen here, across in a building that's no longer there, that was named the Barden. Now, Moll Anthony's original number one, Moll Anthony, the first Moll Anthony, the house she built was there up until 1950, and some vandals, my family protected it by putting a galvanized roof on it and insulating it within to retain it, and it was thatched, and some vandals came and set fire to the thatch. Ended the tin, ended the house, ended an era, 1956. Yeah, 3 bottles. I only identified it by holding this one up, the black bottle. But you came and were assessed. If you let the bottle fall and broke and come back looking again, you wouldn't get any more. You wouldn't get it. She wouldn't give it to you. She wouldn't give you a replacement bottle. She gave you, on the first call, she gave you 2 bottles, which were to last 2 weeks. And you were to say an Our Father. And you were to return at the end of the bottle for the last bottle, the 3rd bottle. And at the end of the 2nd bottle, if you got agitated, felt very sick, not for very long, disorientated, out of sorts, hysterical, you were cured. You were going to be cured. It actually happened with me, with one of my patients, a lady, and after that I made a rule that if a lady came with a problem, she had to bring her sister, her mother, her teenage daughter, her husband, or any human being as a witness, because on this occasion, and this lady was a school teacher as well, she's after going on now, she's got after really going places. I did cure her, but she came here in the taxi, and I thought the taxi man would be coming in to kill me, thinking that I was being a nasty boy. And I ran out, and she was still screaming in the house. But I knew what it does. So if on taking it to the end of the 2nd bottle, that happened to you, you had to definitely come for the 3rd one because you were cured. That's right. Now I had to pass this cure to my niece, who was in line. Well, there's not really, well, there is a pattern to it, in that Moll Anthony passed it to her husband, and he passed it to his daughter. But there is one missing link, but it's identified. In the book written by the German author, I can't think of her name, you may know her name now, which was out in 2008, she identified the complete bloodline.
Aaron Krauss.
That's it,
Yeah.
Aaron Krauss. She identified the complete bloodline, but she missed one in the middle, but he wasn't gone away, as the IRA said. He hadn't gone away. He was dead, but he hadn't gone away. He was there. I was later to find him. There were certain little twists to this ancient cure tradition, where there would be a missing object, or as in Milltown on the headstone, the dropping of a letter to mystify, to make curiosity society is slowly drifting back to looking at herbs, because I was in a charity shop the other week, and the woman behind it, now she's not young and she would have known I was involved in healing, and she begged me to get up medicine for her daughter. Now, as her daughter was going in, and her daughter's not young either, she's in her 50s, was going in this weekend for an operation under the New World Order of Medicine, which is good, as in operations, because in the days I've talked about, operations, anaesthetic and operations were not to the level of today, or the laughing gas, or the gas they used, or the injection they used to operate on you, like hip replacements and heart replacements and everything else. That was not available in the 1800s and 1700s. They have come a long way, but that is a different field. That is a field of technology that curiosity became good over evil, and they've lost touch with the real reality of the real natural body. The medical profession, I believe, today has drifted into a cocoon and is trapped. And until the portholes are open and they come out and accept that you can find cures in the hedgerow, in the fields, I'm afraid it's going to continue as it is. That people will have operations that they don't need to have, that a simple something from the hedgerow could remove. From my bloodline, there was Moll Anthony. from my father's bloodline, we had the first hospital that had an operating theatre at the latter part of the 17th century. Locally, the Travellers' Rest was a hospital. And on the other side of my bloodline, it's Italian. My grandfather was Leonardo Carrere. He was the man that made the bomb to kill Hitler and placed it. And in his family, they went to California and Scotland. They came to Ireland and they were the originators of HB ice creams. Presently today, President Berlusconi would have been a third cousin of mine, but I never met him. I know nothing about him, only I know he's a third cousin of mine. That's all I know. I came here very young. Very young. Sorry for moving now, but this will make a good part to the part. I was asked the question as in, when did I first have an association to the cure? And if you can see the baby, that's me. That's my first association with the cure. Taken to this house, in this house, with Kathleen Kennedy, as she liked to be known, Molly to me, Lala to the close, and that's my first association. I was 6 months old.
So they had chosen you, had they?
She had chosen me. This is the witch coming out in me. This is the witch coming out in me. You see the green, that's this year's. And the brown is many years past. It grows in such a small, it's so small and it grows in such a small amount just on a couple of places on this hill. I started using my mental abilities to see what could I do. So I learned that come June, first week in June, that if I got the particular herb and took it to another place that had the terrain of importance to its lifestyle, and I held it like that, and I done this to it. It would grow, it would come. Just look at the little head that is on it. Imagine the size of the seed within. Minuscule. And when I did that, to my delight, I've moved it from the north position it always held to the south and the east and the west. So I have it sprouting all over the hill as of now, whereby in the past it only was in one particular area facing north.
And what's the name of it?
I don't tell anyone about that one.
Keep it safe.
No, I don't tell anyone about that. Nor it's not in the internet either. And I don't tell them about that.
Is that something that your aunt told you about?
Yes, yes. That's something that has to be held. It's so strong. It's not poisonous, but it's so strong.
So you need to know how to use it, basically.
You know how to use it. I mean, you wouldn't... Now, you can see the amount I have. Now, that'll do many, 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 many bottles. That'll do many bottles, because you use it to a proportion. Word and mouth, what's this they used to call it? Something line they used to call it. On the, I don't know what that, there was a word, there was a saying for it, and I can't remember the saying now, an old, very old saying. It was word of mouth. But they had a particular way of saying it, which would be better than word of mouth.
On the grapevine.
On the grapevine, yeah, on the grapevine, yeah. Well, they came from abroad as well. They came from everywhere. America. They came from America. I remember them in my younger days coming from America.
And would you also, I know some people who can heal people remotely, or would they have to come to you?
I am aware of people that have to come to me, but I am aware of people that can cure remotely at the end of a telephone by cognizance of the voice. I do know people. Now, I don't know many. I know 2 people that can do that. One can increase your clotting agent at the end of a phone. If you were going to bleed to death, she'd stop it. Well, I don't. I'm retired. Now, that woman I told you in the charity shop, she begged me, but I didn't do it. I'm letting her have the option of the operation, because I'm not interfering that way. But if it persists after the operation, I will. But otherwise, I won't.
And I suppose it's a bit...
Well, now, this is where the salad came in. I should have picked some of the leaves of the particular herb and given them to her, which would be a new phenomena added by me to the old, which came about partly because of my readings to the internet about herb Robert.
And I suppose you mentioned earlier as well, like there's always something missing just to confuse.
Yeah, there's
things.
always a confusing element. There's always a confusing element. Not very many, but there's always a confusing element that they can't get to grips with.
And is there a reason for that? Is that something...
There would, possibly enhancing secrecy. I can't be sure. I cannot be sure. But that's the only conclusion I could come to. Enhancing secrecy
Of the practitioner themselves.
of the unit.
Yeah.